And good night, everyone. This is an update for March 30, 2022, day 35 of the war, end of the date update. We would like to discuss a little bit general topic today about both armies, about Russian army and Ukrainian army, and how they kind of being created. In a way, think that a Russian army, at about 200,000 people are contract soldiers. So in a simple way, kind of like in medieval terms, let's call them mercenaries, right? So they're getting paid to fight. About 20-30% of them really there just to earn money. They never saw that they're going to get into any war. So really about 70% of that are true mercenaries in their spirit. So basically what this means, they motivated, uh, they know the equipment, so they can use equipment effectively, right? So that's the Russian part. On Ukrainian part, it's very similar, right? It's about 125,000 of actual troops, and most of them are mercenaries, meaning they getting paid and they have incentives, they motivated, they know equipment and so on, right? So that's kind of like apples to apples comparison for both armies. The problem was for Russia, they losing amount of this. They losing this mercenary army, right? And as they lose, they have nothing. They don't have new mercenaries to fill the ranks because it becomes prohibitively expensive to hire them, right? Because there is a chance that the probability of dying in the war is high, so the pay rate for mercenary is high, is extremely high. So that becomes prohibitively expensive for the Russian government to kind of fund this way. So the only option for them is to do conscription, which means mass mobilization of regular citizens and so on. And that is extremely unpopular. And politically, it will be kind of almost suicidal. They can try to explain it by, Ukrainian troops attacking some part of Russia and so on. But these troops are going to be super unmotivated. So you could see mass surrender. They don't know equipment very well, so there's no motivation. So it's going to be really low quality army, right? So that's another problem, even if they do this mass mobilization. On Ukrainian side, what happens is that you have this, call it mercenaries. Ukraine loses them as well, but then they have a regular conscription service, and most of the people who go there are volunteers, right? They want to do it. So it's in a way like you're getting free mercenaries, right? They want to fight, they want to learn how to use equipment, they have motivation, right? So that's, for Ukraine, it's easy to fill the ranks of mercenaries with new mercenaries, basically, as they lose. In addition, what happens is there is very numerous Ukrainian militia forces, which probably another 120,000 people. So in a way, you have already kind of shadow army that's willing. They probably don't know equipment enough. They need more training. But in general, this is your, on top of just regular conscripts, you have another kind of like shadow army ready there. So that's a nutshell difference between Ukrainian and Russian armies. And part of this actually explains quite well why Russian government decided to pull off from the north, which we always showed, from west of Kyiv and then from east of Kyiv here. And this pullback is very active. We can see it in we're getting information from many sources, many confirmations from many locations. So this is actually really happening, and Russian troops are withdrawing in significant numbers. So this what this really means that Russian government decided to focus on what they can do, as opposed to trying to hit everywhere where they want to. Now they have to limit scope of this, what they call operation, but really it's a war to shorter front line, right? And specifically to Donbass, and trying to hold all of this area in the south. So hopefully that explains what's happening, why Russian government is pulling from the north, and we'll discuss. Let's just look a little bit more towards what's going on in Kyiv. Here we already, for example, have confirmation that this village of Matizhin is in Ukrainian hands. It was totally dead quiet in Makariv, which is very unusual given that it was ongoing fighting there. So we clearly see Russian troops are pulling up north from here and trying to disengage. Also, what we know, what we learned today, that whole this area, this kind of like section of Kyiv region was, call it, vacated by Russian troops, and they actually moved even further. They moved to this towns of Nova Basan and Novy Beykiv. So basically, they're retreating to northeast back to Russia. So we, in the future, we probably will not even discuss going forward Kyiv, because it's very clear there's no threat to Kyiv, and this is at this point there probably won't be any sort of front lines here. So let's just let's move, then look at what's going on here in the Kharkiv area. And the reason we're going to look at this, because it's very closely connected to situation in Izyum, and then Izyum in its turn is very closely connected to situation in Donbass. So this is kind of like one big system here that needs to be looked holistically, and cannot really not good idea to look at this as a separate sections. So let's actually look what's happening here in Kharkiv. So before yesterday, Ukrainian troops attacked Russian troops here in the village of Mala Rogan, and they managed to destroy Russian troops. They fled. They actually fled onto the other side of the river. This is Severodonetsk river going on here. They blew up the bridge. So town of Chuguyiv now formally in Ukrainian hands. The bridge unfortunately blown up. So Ukraine, they want to prevent Ukrainian troops from getting on the other side, because this is obvious, as we discussed, this is rear of the attacking group here towards Izyum, right? And based on our information about situation in Izyum, Ukrainian troops managed to stall or stop for now Russian advance here. But we believe this is just a temporary stop, temporary plug. And the only true way to sort of eliminate this problem is to attack towards Kupiansk and create a threat, so they pull out of all of this area. That's really only option here. Because in the long run, Russian troops will pump enough of their own troops to break Ukrainian lines, and at least try to in a short run, try to exploit the whole breakout. So this is all a closely connected system here. What we also would like to discuss is that all of these units here, 200th Brigade, 144th Division, 138th Brigade, 2nd Special Forces Brigade, they all suffered pretty heavy casualties so far. So they are only suitable for defensive action. We don't really think that it's possible to use them anywhere else. This is just kind of the static defensive line here. We don't know what is. There are two units that we don't know what's going on to them. They were here initially in near Kharkiv. However, we don't know where they are. They haven't suffered many losses, so they're in pretty good shape, and they could be used for some kind of major offensive, because this is tank division and mechanized division. So together, that's pretty strong force here. And maybe there is an idea that Russian forces will use 47th tank division, kind of like expand it to make a whole, basically. So it will not be, it will be in pretty bad shape after everything's said and done. But then they can use these two units to exploit the hole that will be created by the 47th Tank Division. This is just obvious speculation, but this is what might be happening here. Another situation here in Severodonetsk, a little bit explains also why Russian troops are so actively attacking it, because it's effectively bridgehead for Ukrainian troops for potential attacks on the eastern side bank of the river. So for that reason, they so aggressively trying to destroy this bridgehead, and it's being done mostly by the Second Army Corps here. Just as a note, this purple line, this is Ukrainian-Russian border. This is we will try to in the future to show it that way. Let's keep going. This is our sort of idea about how to solve the problem with Izyum bridgehead that we discussed yesterday. And this what we discussed, that the only way for Ukrainian troops is to really attack towards Kupiansk, probably capture it, and cause withdrawal, mass withdrawal from all of this kind of peninsular that's protected by the river on both sides, and exit of Russian troops from here. So this is a situation in Izyum. There's not much new here. We just want to show detailed view of what happened here, and then let's keep actually going, and because there are more updates here around area of Vuhledar that we would like to discuss. Specifically, Russian troops apparently got some fresh units, or maybe that's other parts of the 19th Division. But then they attacked, and they towards Velika Novosilka here. They haven't captured this village, but they made pretty significant advance. And this is kind of like creating in a way, not hole, but it's kind of like a bulge in Ukrainian defenses that could be potentially exploited. And we know that this village is still defended by 53rd Ukrainian brigade, and it defends also Vuhledar, and it's being heavily attacked all of this time. And in the past, it went through heavy fighting in Volnovakha. So we believe that this unit is really kind of worn out with a no situation, and it's especially extra more danger because this is the most critical section of the front line here, and it's in our opinion is being defended by the unit that suffered most casualties, in our opinion, out of all of these units here on the front line in Donbass. Let's look now on situation in Mariupol. So we actually confirmed that Russian troops have not made much progress. So what we shown here a couple days ago is about correct. Is actually they haven't even made even that much progress. So what we understand right now, they captured this theater that was bombed out, and that's kind of like their outer line, front line. So the front line is actually a little bit closer to this theater, and it's somewhere here where we show these lines here. So this is more or less correct on the western side. What we know that Russian troops managed to capture this quarter here. They haven't made progress here in this area. So now they are touching a perimeter of Azovstal in this area. So that's a situation here in Mariupol. So now let's look actually what's going on here in Kherson and Mykolaiv region. That's another important area. So what we learned that Ukrainian troops tried to attack yesterday and today, and they were unsuccessful. As we discussed before, from Russian reports, they lost 3 BMPs, so basically armor fighting vehicles that they're not very honestly useful, but they suffered some kind of minor losses. And in our opinion, it's a suicidal attack because there is concentration of Russian troops here around Kherson, because that's a key point and they will defend it at all cost. So hitting at the strongest point of Russian troops is not very intelligent idea in the first place, and especially given it's all flat here, there are no trees, so visibility is excellent for like 30, 40, 50 kilometers. Maybe there are some hilly areas, but those hills are very how to say, they're not tall, they're not high, they're very short hills, and so it's essentially like flat terrain, and it's perfect for artillery fire, for tanks, for long distance fight, and it's not something that Ukrainian army has advantage in this area. So was ill-conceived attack that ended up in failure. So that's all for today. Thanks for listening, and until tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye-bye.